Bob Brodeur has been quietly teaching various sciences, first at the former Cathedral High School in Springfield, then at Pope Francis Prep, now for 50 years. Over the years, he has been selected for numerous awards, both locally and statewide, for his teaching excellence, as well as his dedication to the school and students. Steve Kiltonick spoke to Bob recently about his longtime teaching career and his love of science. He has our story.
It's a cold January afternoon at Pope Francis Preparatory School, and students have settled in on Bob Brodeur's oceanography class. It's one of the many science subjects Bob teaches here, including honors biology, anatomy and physiology, as well as ecosystems and sustainability. Brodeur's 50-year teaching career began at Cathedral High in 1975 and continued on at Pope Francis. Bob became fascinated with science at an early age, and then was inspired by Sister of St. Joseph at Cathedral High, then a famous oceanographer.
I was motivated, to tell the truth, by my high school biology teacher. Had her for 2 years in high school at Cathedral, and she's the one who got me motivated into the biological sciences.
That teacher was Sister Marilyn Logan, a member of the science department who taught biology.
Combination of her enthusiasm in the topic in biology and just her relaxed teaching style, but she was interested in the students succeeding.
Brodeur graduated from Cathedral in 1970 and went on to get a bachelor's in biology from Westfield State before doing grad work at Cornell, Scholl's Marine Lab, and Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute. Bob explained why he chose teaching for a career instead of a lab environment.
I like the interaction with people, and especially students. I enjoy working with the students. I think it's more beneficial. You get more feedback working with kids than you would in a lab situation.
Bob's lifelong love of oceanography was also instilled early on.
What probably got me interested in oceanography is Jacques Cousteau, and I did meet one of his sons at a lecture once, and just having that one-to-one contact really motivated me.
In 2010, Brodeur was honored with a Pioneer Valley Excellence in Teaching Award, and in 2017 was recognized by the state for his role in the school's energy and environmental science education program. Throughout his classroom are scattered environmental plaques for students to ponder, along with various artifacts accumulated over decades of teaching.
The 10 is the start. The 60 is the stop. So you guys are running it 50 centimeters. So it'll be time over that distance when you're...
Bob explained what his oceanography class is working on.
Currently studying how life adapts to the ocean environment. So they've been studying the physical factors, temperature, density of the water. So they're actually doing a hydrodynamics lab today where they're modeling, first off, geometric shapes, see how well they move through the water, and then from those shapes they're going to model fish, and then time how well they move through the water.
Over a 50-year span, technology hasn't changed Bob's teaching style, which has evolved from the blackboard and overhead transparencies to computers and PowerPoint presentations. Senior Ellie Hanachek took Bob's freshman honors biology class and later anatomy and physiology. She failed to study for her first Brodeur biology test and paid the price.
It was the hardest thing I have ever done in my entire life. And I would say that Mr. Brodeur is really a teacher who impresses the importance of learning a subject and really studying it yourself instead of just learning for a test. My favorite part about his classes are his deadpan humor. He makes a lot of jokes that if you're not really into science, you kind of don't understand what he's talking about.
Ellie was recently named a 2025 Regeneron Science Talent Search Scholar, a prestigious award given to a select 300 students worldwide. Her project involved developing a microbial system for converting plastic waste into fertilizer and drinkable water. As Ellie's advisor, Bob helped her achieve an independent study status for the project, which included his daily support, writing recommendations, and even visiting her at the UMass lab where she conducts research.
I was surprised that he was that enthusiastic and so prepared and fervent in his pursuit of this independent study for me, because he had to come up with an entire grading system and paperwork and everything to make sure that it was legitimate. He really looks at his class and doesn't just see a bunch of people who are trying to graduate high school. He looks at people and thinks of them as the future leaders.
John Anziano, director of campus ministry, was a freshman biology student of Brodeur's at Cathedral.
What we were learning and the way Mr. Brodeur would present it to us There was always something practical about it. It wasn't just about the terms and the science itself. It was, how do we use this? How is this used today?
When Anziano started teaching at Cathedral, Bob was a role model.
What impresses me the most is the students always come first with Bob, and I think that's the biggest lesson he's taught me as a teacher. His willingness to stay after school, to come early, to work with students that might be struggling in his class.
Whether one pursues science as a career or not, Bob feels a science background is important.
Whether it's environmental, things about drug regulation or whatever, and people are voting on these things. And I think the kids need to be more aware of issues like that are going to impact their daily lives.
For those who may think retirement is looming on the horizon for Bob,
I plan on at least a couple more years, possibly full-time, and if I'm able to keep part-time, I think I would be bored if I was retired. So I'll keep going as long as I can.
that's good news for future Pope Francis students, who will continue to benefit from, as Anziano says, Bob's incredible love for science. For Real to Real, I'm Steve Kiltonic.
Congratulations, Bob Brodeur, and thanks for your many years of dedication to teaching generations of young people.